Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to completely shatter the illusion that building significant wealth requires, finding the perfect investment or following some flashy get-rich-quick scheme. No way! Instead, we're looking at the completely mundane, incredibly consistent habits that will actually get you to your first $100,000. We are talking about a process so reliable, it's essentially a mathematical certainty, as long as you actually follow the steps. Let's get right into it.
We're going to build your step-by-step checklist chronologically by walking through the 5 practical layers of what we call the boring stack. That's know your number, be irreplaceable, spend with intention, automate everything, and finally, give it time.
All right, so let's dive into layer 1, know your number.
Here's the thing. Vague goals produce vague results. Studies actually show that simply writing down highly specific, measurable goals makes you 42% more likely to hit them. That is huge. So if your goal is 100 grand, you've got to reverse engineer the math into a daily net savings goal. Want to hit it in 3 years? That means saving $91 a day. Stretching it to 5 years drops that to a much more manageable $55 a day. Find your number, write it down, and seriously look at it every single day.
Now, Wall Street definitely doesn't want you to hear this, and the crypto day traders for sure don't either. But as Morgan Housel brilliantly points out, wealth generation is fundamentally a savings game, not an investing game. Building wealth literally has everything to do with your savings rate, and honestly, very little to do with picking the absolute perfect stock.
Just think about the sheer math behind that for a second. Let's say you save $15,000 a year and earn a super modest 4.5% return. After 6 years, boom, you cross the 100K mark. But here is the crazy part. A shocking 85% of your wealth comes directly from the cash you saved, and only 15% comes from those investment returns. Even if we magically gave you Warren Buffett-level returns of 20% a year, the vast majority of that first $100,000 is still coming entirely from your direct savings.
Which brings us to layer 2. Be irreplaceable. Obviously, to actually fund those daily savings targets, we need to increase your income, right? And you do that by ensuring your skills command a real premium in the market. It's just basic supply and demand. If your skill is rare, you make more money. In today's wild landscape, that means you absolutely must develop skills that are defensible against AI. If you're doing generic writing or basic repetitive tasks, your earning potential is severely capped because, well, a robot can do it. But look at the hard-to-replace skills. You don't actually have to be a brain surgeon to win here. Mastering hands-on trade skills, like plumbing or HVAC, that makes you basically immune to AI for the foreseeable future. Or if you're a knowledge worker, injecting genuine, irreplaceable human connection into how you communicate ensures you don't just sound like another generic AI chatbot.
Okay, moving right along to layer 3, spend with intention.
Look, earning more money only works if we play a little defense with that new income. Every single dollar you don't spend is literally a step closer to your target. So the absolute best way to cut out emotional spending, those impulsive 2 a.m. online shopping sprees, is the 24-hour rule. The rule is simple. You have to wait exactly 24 hours before making any non-essential purchase over your specific stretch number. For some people, that stretch number might be $100. Maybe for you, it's 50. If a $50 lunch with a friend doesn't make you blink, but a $120 gadget totally does, use that 24-hour window to ask yourself if you actually need it. Trust me, most of the time, the urge just completely passes.
Now, if you combine that 24-hour rule with some easy alternate swaps, you can systematically shrink your daily cash burn. And hey, this isn't about feeling overly cheap or restricting yourself until you're miserable. It's just about being deliberate. If you eat out every single day, maybe try brewing your coffee at home or meal prepping for a few days. If you do grab a sandwich at a deli, just skip the extra chips and the expensive drink. I know it sounds small, but these relatively painless choices really do compound dramatically over time.
But listen, if you are truly serious about hitting your goal quickly, you've got to tackle the heavy hitters. You must deliberately optimize the big 3 expenses: housing, cars, and food. Ask yourself, could you get a roommate when your lease is up? Could you maybe move 15 minutes further out of town to save $500 a month in rent? What about comparing auto insurance to save $150 or trading in a massive car payment for a super reliable used car? Optimizing these big 3 categories is exactly what frees up the serious capital you need to crush those daily savings targets.
Which perfectly sets us up for layer 4, automate everything.
Now that you've optimized your income and reined in your expenses, we need to completely remove human error from the equation. Honestly, we face way too many financial decisions every single day to just rely on willpower. If we leave it up to our own devices, we are inevitably going to make the wrong choice. It's just human nature. As James Clear points out in Atomic Habits, we shouldn't aim to rely on motivation. Instead, we need to design our environment so that the right behavior just happens automatically. It's a real game changer. Research consistently shows that people who automate their savings hit their targets way more often than those who do it manually.
So the golden rule here, pay yourself first. Let's say you make $2,000 every 2 weeks. You need to set up an automatic transfer that zaps, say, $400 directly into your savings and investment accounts the exact day that paycheck hits. By moving this money instantly, out of sight and out of mind, you completely eliminate the psychological temptation to spend it before you've even had a chance to secure it.
And finally, we arrive at layer 5. Give it time.
I'll be honest with you, this is the absolute hardest part of the entire stack. Why? Because it requires an immense, often uncomfortable capacity for delayed gratification. Think about how wealth building compares to almost anything else in life. Like when you swing a golf club and hit a terrible shot, you get instant feedback, right? The ball goes into the trees, you immediately know your swing was off, and you can try to fix it. But the reality of wealth building comes with this massive, agonizing delay. The right moves you make today might take months or literally years to actually show up on your balance sheet. And because of that lack of instant feedback, so many people who are doing everything perfectly end up abandoning their plan after just 3 to 6 months because they think it's broken.
You absolutely must firmly manage your expectations here. Unless you rapidly explode your income with some wild viral business or crazy side hustle, the realistic, totally boring journey from 0 to 100 grand takes roughly 4 to 7 years. That's just the truth. It's a slow, steady climb, and it's going to test your discipline way, way more than your intelligence.
Okay, let's wrap this all up. Here is your ultimate screenshot-worthy checklist to synthesize everything we've talked about into a concrete roadmap you can start using today. Ready? Step 1, calculate your specific daily savings number. Step 2, build skills that are totally irreplaceable by AI. Step 3, optimize your big 3 expenses: housing, cars, and food. Step 4, automate your savings so you never even see the cash. And Step 5, wait 4 to 7 years without changing the plan.
The boring path absolutely works, if you just trust the process. Which leaves us with one final, incredibly important question to ask yourself as you look at the road ahead. That 4 to 7 years, it's going to pass anyway. When it does, are you going to be sitting on your first $100,000? Or are you still going to be at zero, wondering where all that time went? Make the boring choice today. Thanks for tuning into this explainer, and we'll see you next time.